Hi, and welcome to my second part of interactions among living things. So today we're going to be talking about three types of interactions among organisms, and those are competition, predation, and symbiosis. And competition is the struggle between organisms to survive as they attempt to use the same limited resources. This can include competition for food, space, and mating. And different species can share the same habitat and food requirements. If two species occupy the same niche, one of the species might eventually die off, and this reason is competition. And when we talk about competition, we need to talk about limited resources. What are limited resources? And limited resources are when there are limited amounts of food, water, and shelter within an ecosystem. So who exactly is involved in this competition? Who competes? Well, it can happen within a species, meaning different members of a species are competing against each other, but it can also happen between different species. Now, another type of interaction among organisms is predation. And predation is an interaction in which one organism kills another for food. Predators can have a major effect on population size. A predator is the organism that kills and eats another animal, such as this cheetah. And the prey is the animal that is killed and eaten by the predator, such as this gazelle. Even though herbivores do not kill their prey per se, and they're maybe not as graphic as some of the carnivores, they are still considered predators because they eat plants, which are also living organisms. So yes, that cute giraffe, that cute little cow, herbivores are predators. And organisms that share the same habitat often have adaptations that help them to reduce the competition. And adaptations are behaviors and physical characteristics that allow organisms to live successfully in their environments, particularly when those environments change. And predator and prey often have adaptations. Predators have adaptations that help them to get the prey, and prey have adaptations that help them avoid their predators. And these adaptations can include warning color, false coloring, camouflage, protective covering, defensive chemicals, and mimicry. And this is an example of adaptations for some different birds, some beak adaptations. And their beaks are shaped and adapted to help them eat different kinds of nuts and insects and maybe some nectar. And here we see camouflage. This owl is very well camouflaged within the bark of this tree. Our little skunk is an example of an organism that uses chemical defense to ward off predators. I think we all know what that tail raised in the air means we've got coming. A pretty stinky situation, and actually that chemical can burn the eyes and nose of the predator. and mimicry. This is a moth, believe it or not, and its coloration mimics that of an owl. And the final relationship we want to talk about is symbiosis. Now there's 3 different types of symbiosis that we're going to talk about, so this is far from over. But symbiosis is the 3rd type of interaction. And symbiosis is any relationship in which 2 species live very closely together, and at least one of the species benefits from this relationship. And it's a close, long-term relationship between different species in a community. And there are 3 types of symbiosis. There's mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. And in mutualism, both of the organisms benefit. In commensalism, one organism benefits, but the other one's really unaffected. The relationship doesn't help them, but it also doesn't hurt them. And parasitism is a relationship where one organism benefits and the other one's harmed. And in this type of relationship, you've got the parasite, and then you have the host. And the host is the organism that the parasite lives on or in. Let's take a look at an example of mutualism. You can see here by the 2 smiley face emojis that both organisms are benefiting in this relationship. We've got a crocodile and a bird. And this bird, he happily opens his mouth for this bird, but not to draw him in to eat him. That bird picks bits of food and parasites out of his mouth and teeth. So he is kind of like his dentist. That bird keeps that alligator healthy, or crocodile, excuse me. That bird keeps that crocodile healthy. And that crocodile is giving a food source for that bird. That bird's getting food from the crocodile. So he gladly lets him clean his teeth without causing him harm. So they are both happy and benefit from this situation. In commensalism, we said before, one organism benefits or is happy from this relationship, and the other one's really unaffected. It doesn't really care, it doesn't mind, it's not helped, it's not hurt. And we see this with the shark and the remora fish. And the remora fish attaches to the bottom of the shark or swims near the shark, but usually it has like a little sucker that attaches to the shark, which does not harm the shark. It doesn't hurt the shark in any way. And so he just kind of like goes along for the ride, and then when the shark eats, a lot of times there's scraps of fish or whatever organism he's eating, there are scraps left over that the remora fish then unattaches himself and goes and cleans up the little bits. So he kind of goes along for the ride and to get a free meal. But again, there's really no benefit to the shark. No one really knows why he lets the fish do this, why he doesn't eat him, but he doesn't, and they live together in perfect harmony. And then we have parasitism. Totally, totally gross. This is a situation where one organism is happy, it benefits from this relationship, and that is the parasite. The parasite benefits. But the host, however, is harmed by this relationship. So you can see by our frowny face, he is not happy. And this is an example of worms, a type of worm that can live inside your intestines and inside intestines of other animals. And again, the host is the organism that the parasite lives on or in. The parasites benefit, the host is harmed. Well, thank you for watching this presentation, and I hope it helps you in your study efforts.